Shed Talks, I'm Mark Allen, welcome back. I've been thinking about something. I've been watching some pretty darn good athletes, Ironman champions, Ironman world champions, trying to make it to the Olympics. The two that I'm looking at, Gustav+Iden and Kristian+Blummenfelt, they've both won an Ironman World Championship. Kristian won it when it was held in St. George. Gustav won it last year in Kona. Both of them are trying to make it to Paris for the Olympics. So they were two athletes who were sort of weaned on the Olympic distance. They moved up to full distance. Now they're dropping it back down. Are they going to make it? I don't know. It's pretty exciting, right? Pretty exciting to think about. When I raced, there were a number of athletes who kind of did that type of thing. Erin Baker was successful at both winning Ironman, which she did in 1988, came back in 1989, won the ITU World Olympic Distance World Championship in Avignon, France. I kind of did the same thing that year. I won Ironman that year. I've been racing Ironman for 6 years, and I won the Olympic Distance World Championship in Avignon, 1989. Karen Smyers won Kona in 1995, and just over a month later she went to Cancun, won the ITU Olympic Distance World Championship. So it can be done, but recently it hasn't been so easy. Chris McCormick tried to do it after he had won 2 Kona World Championships. He had actually won the ITU World Championship in, I forget what it was, 1997, something like that. He'd won Kona twice, and then he was trying to make it to the London Olympics for the Australian team, and he failed. He was not able to step back down, have the speed he needed to make it to the Olympics. And so far, Kristian+Blummenfelt and Gustav+Iden look like they're struggling to make that happen themselves. They started in short distance racing, they went up to full distance, now they're going back to Olympic distance. In the last 2 WTCS races that are helping the athletes qualify for their points to get to the Olympics, the best that Kristian has been able to do is 8th, and the best that Gustav has done in the last 2 races is 39th. Neither of those is going to make anybody shudder in their boots and shake, because they look like they're going to dominate. They're struggling to even make it up on the podium. So what's happened? Why are they not making it? Why is it hard for them? A lot of people might say, the competition is much more deep now, the talent pool, the speed they're going, and all of that is true. However, Kristian and Gustav are super talented athletes, and they have a very smart coach. This is what I think is happening. It has to do with recovery. You know that word, recovery? The Ironman has sort of been normalized in a certain sense. Like, I think a lot of athletes now look at doing an Ironman the way I did, looking at how I would do a 70.3. There's a certain period of recovery afterwards before I then go hit it hard again. And I think a lot of athletes, maybe Kristian, maybe Gustav, have fallen into that trap of thinking, oh, I do an Ironman, it's a couple weeks easy, and then I'm back at it. That's not so true. Ironman does something to your body that's very hard to sense until you go way down the road of being overtrained. And it has to do with your adrenal system, that part of your body that you tap into when you do those long, hard workouts. You tap into it kind of in a slow burn way. The miles that athletes do to get ready to win an Ironman World Championship, that's a lot. They do a ton of training, but it's a slow burn. And so there's like this slow drawdown on kind of like your internal battery. You do the race. A week or 2 later, you're not sore, you're not stiff, maybe you're a little tired, and you think, I'm back. And so you start training again. Well, that deep reserve of energy that you put out, to not only in your training, but in your racing to get ready for that Ironman World Championship, that takes a long time to replenish. It's kind of like drawing water out of the water tables way under the ground. You suck it all dry. One rainstorm doesn't fill it back up. It takes a long time for everything to seep in and fill that back up. It's the same with your adrenal system, that fight or flight, that thing that helps you rise up to race performances. In an Olympic distance race, you have to go supercharge that system so that you can go super fast for just under 2 hours. I don't think they're recovered. I think they went from Olympic distance racing to full Ironman racing to 70.3 racing, and they haven't taken the time to really put that energy back in. And you don't put the energy back in when you're training hard. When I was competing, we had a healthy respect for the recovery that was required after you did an Ironman. And those athletes who didn't quite have that respect for the recovery that was truly needed to get fully recharged, they burned out. I think the reason that Kristian and Gustav, and maybe even Chris McCormick a few years ago, struggled to come back down to the Olympic distance and still have that speed is because they haven't recovered from the long training that it took to excel the way they did at the Ironman distance. Maybe a few extra naps are needed for those guys. Shed+Talks, Mark Allen, let me know what you think. And I should say, those two guys, if they do it right, they could be first and second in the Olympics. It won't be easy, but they could do it if they do it right. And final thing that I would like to say is a shout out to Gustav. His mom passed away just a day or two ago, and I know that's a tough one. She was battling cancer for a couple of years. So my shout out and condolences to Gustav, and hopefully the rest of the year will be a better one for him. Mark Allen for Shed+Talks. Let me know what you think.